Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Torey and today we are working in my December daily album on story number 17. So for this story I am using a foundation page that I set up I think towards the end of November using the Tracy Redesign Festive Collection. This is a process video that I have on my channel as well. If you're interested in checking that out, I will link it for you either up in the little corner or in the description. So really for this particular video, I'm just filling these in. So I'm filling in all of my currentlies for the month and basically what I was doing. One of the cards, the currently watching card, I actually am going to end up covering the title of that one completely up and just adding a little vellum star embellishment that's from Ali Edwards. Because when I was recording this, I couldn't actually think of any movies that I had watched that were Christmas or holiday related in the month of December. But after I finished the video, I did think of like 4 movies that we've watched so far this year or month. But I already kind of covered it up and whatever, so it's fine. And I just ended up using that particular card as kind of like my number card to hold the number of the story for my album. So I have filled out so far my currently sipping, which I just kind of wrote peppermint stick coffee and hot cocoa. The current playlist, I wrote top 100 Christmas songs because that is just what Oliver has been obsessed with listening to. So he's asking to listen to that like video on YouTube all the time. For my currently crafting, I wrote December daily, Christmas gifts, and cards because that's what I spent pretty much this entire month crafting. Currently playing is going to be Let's Go Eevee, or Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. That was a game that Luna got for Christmas, and she's been having me play that with her. I also wrote down Sackboy. And off camera, I added World of Warcraft because I have played that a few times this month as well. My seasonal reads is going to be a little bit harder for me to list off all of the books that I've read so far because I don't have this in front of me and I had to write all of these books really tiny. So let me pull up my Goodreads. Okay, so for this particular tag, I only wrote the holiday books that I've read so far for December. And on this list, I included Naughty-ish, Eating Her Christmas Cookies, XOXO Santa, Billionaire's Advent Contract, Operation Christmas Miracle, Yuled by the Orcs, and Trick Shot. And a couple of these books I picked solely for the beginning letter because I wanted to complete my A to Z challenge. So that's where some of those books came from. So now I've got all of these cards filled in after I get this last little bit written here on my seasonal reads. And I'm going to kind of set these back up in my little pockets and how I think I'll want them to be laid out. I had them laid out in a very specific way initially, and when I took them out, I forgot. So now I'm just kind of trying to refigure how I had them laid out originally. Once I get them back in their appropriate spots, I'll then move on to working on basically my number card. And I've got, like I said, a little piece of vellum, a vellum star, I believe is from Ali Edwards. And then I also have a piece of scrap patterned paper that's also from the Tracy Reed Festive Collection. It's just a small rectangle cut off that I had from something else, and I'm just going to rip the top of that off so it's got a little bit of a ripped edge, because I really wanted to see that diagonal striped red line that was on the watch list like tag. I still wanted that to be visible, so that's why I'm ripping off a little bit of that pattern paper so that you can still see it, and it's got that little bit of ripping that we all know that I love, and I think it gives that card a little bit more character as well. I will just use my tiny attacher to attach that little vellum star, and then I will pull out some numbers to kind of figure out which number I want to get added onto here. And I believe I just end up pulling out the December daily numbers that came out last year. I do initially put the number 15 on this card, and I was really sad that I did it that way because I really liked the way that it looked, but this is not story number 15, so I ended up needing to take that 5 off and add the number 7 because that is the correct number. But I really did love the way that the 15 looked when I laid this all out. It's so cute. But yeah, so I'm gonna pull that off once I realize that that's the wrong number and get the 7 added. Thankfully, I didn't pull any of the paper up whenever I pulled that number 5 up because I did print these patterns out at home. And depending on my paper, sometimes it will rip if I try to remove adhesive from it. But it didn't, so that's great as well. And then, so I've got my number 17 there, and I am loving the way that this looks. This one, like I said, is super quick to put together because I was just filling in these cards. And now that I've kind of got an overall look of how I want everything, I'm just gonna get this added back into my album. This will be adhered to the back of story number 16, which was our light drive. And then I will trim off the edge for everything to be ready to go in my album. My album is getting super chunky as of right now. So I kind of opened that second album, and I've just been setting in my, basically from story 16 on, I've been setting those into that album because it's easier to flip through the album when it's not as chunky. So I'm going to try and keep everything in one album still, but I'm waiting until I have all of my stories finished before I start adding these later stories into the first album that I put together. So I've got this adhered back to back. I'm just going to need to trim off a little tiny bit of the actual paper or the story that I did today from the background. So I'm just going to use my X-Acto knife and a ruler to get that trimmed up. I'm going to have to trim it twice, I believe, because one of the pieces of vellum that's on the other side I didn't actually cut through. So I will get all of that trimmed up and then get everything added back into the album after I get the cards placed back in as well. That is really all that I will be doing for this story. If you made it to the end of this video, let me know what one of your December currentlies are. Something that you're currently sipping or currently crafting, currently reading, watching, listening to, something like that. Let me know down in the comments what one of your December currentlies was. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!